Hello, everyone. Starting off with the question, Alphonse is best. Asks, Pat, you touched the new raids yet? I did the normal versions of the new raid at 6:20 a.m. Pacific time the morning they came out. And I was done with them by 7:30 a.m. Pacific time the morning they came out. They're good as hell. They're good as hell. So, gentlemen, ladies, we are going to be going through a lot of minutia today. I am super willing to hear any question that anybody has at any point. Also, if I'm like super fucking wrong and I look over and I recognize a name that I would trust to tell me that I'm super fucking wrong, I'll be like, shit. And then we can change that. I attempted to do some form of plan, but I can't. It's too hard. It's too hard to plan. So instead, I'll just go by gut feel, orb feeling. Fran Frost says, I've played FF14 for 150 days, and I still miss stuff. Yeah. I found out shit like literally last week about the Aetherite tickets from the Grand Company. I felt stupid as fuck. Stupid as hell. Oh well. What are you going to do? Anyway, I have a sneaking suspicion that learning how to play controller is going to be by far the most interesting part of today's show. Because I've seen many people be like, Pat, why the fuck do you put your shit on that spot on controller? And guess what? There's a reason. There's a fucking reason for everything. So first off, I want to thank Zelhesia for subscribing. Thanks, Zelhesia. As well as Drake Valentine, who kicked in 500 bits. Started playing 14 on the PS5 for my BF, making it the third time I've gone through the MSQ. Wow, I'm so glad they changed the VAs in Heaven's Word. Oh, yeah. That was rough. Can you keep it clean so I can hook my 10-year-old nephew on FF14? No. Well, I can try, but like, I think it's too late for me. I think it's too late. Also, your 10-year-old is not allowed to play FF14 according to the game's terms of service. That doesn't mean I can or would stop you. But I'm just saying they're not allowed. You know? So, just saying. Just saying. Also, there's shit in here that a 10-year-old probably shouldn't see. I mean, who am I to tell your 10-year-old nephew what he can and can't see? That's my job for later. All right. Let's load up this. Just a special consideration for folks at home. I'm of the opinion that if you ever do play FF14 and you stream it, that it is your obligation, like a moral obligation, to place something over the chat window. Nobody who's playing the game who might be talking is necessarily signing up to be broadcast. Also, much of it is very cringe. Also, in case your webcam fails at random, You might want to put something there also, just in case. I just think that's polite. I just think that's polite to do. All right. I'm going to hit this button, and then I'm going to do this, and that should do it. Hey, it did do it. So, obviously, I'm pretty deep into the fucking game. Oh, swore. It's too late. Obviously, I'm pretty deep into the game. But... Ooh, this keyboard's starting to go. So I'm going to try and avoid spoilsies. Right? But there are a couple things that you might want to check out right away. Like, genuinely before you even start the game. Might want to go to Option System Configuration. Right? If you start the game and at your chosen resolution being 4K, you're like, that seems insanely small. You might want to kick it up a bit to which one you like. Right? Maybe. Now, I have a wide variety of settings that I've made up for every single possible thing that I don't fuck with anymore, ever. So, we're not, even though I'm running at a, this. I should probably be at 300%. But do I have a TV or monitor? Here I have a monitor. At my house, I have a TV. The settings that I have set up work perfectly for both. Right? That's just me. Ignore this, because this is basically you'll macro size everything to your thing, and you have to edit it. You're just gonna edit parts of your interface as you go. Blah blah blah. Usual technical nonsense, right? Sound. Hey, this is actually really important. I don't know what the default is anymore. Okay? But you don't want anything to play when it's alt-tabbed, except for this system sound. The reason why you want the system sound to always come through is pretty simple. When you're sitting around waiting for a duty to pop because the wait time was 25 minutes, and you're watching something on YouTube, you want that nice bring to turn your brain back on and bring you back to this world. Enable this. See the state BGM's great. Definitely play system sounds while waiting for the duty finder. This is what I keep my settings at. I find that sound effects in the mix is too high, and I find that BGM is actually too low for the volume. I also think that FF14's default volume is insanely high. I'm not really sure why, but it seems like crazy high. Like it's the single loudest game that I have. I don't know why that is. Player effects volume. This seems pretty simple. You want to hear yourself the best, but you want to hear your party a little less, and you want to hear other PCs a little less. DualShock shit doesn't matter. Equalizer doesn't matter. Graphics, set them how you like, but set them in-game because, I mean, the fucking title screen doesn't show you any, it doesn't, you need to know how it runs. Right, mouse settings, I don't use a mouse, so don't worry about it. Gamepad settings, here we go. Obviously set it to whatever your personal preference is. I'm actually a huge fan that they have, like, 3 different types of PlayStation symbols. I don't enable vibration, personally. Text pasting is really, really helpful. Virtual mouse is a cool feature that you should check out later when I turn it on, because there's a bunch of hidden button controls. Gamepad color calibration isn't really important. Button isn't important, except For R3, see, the normal is assist target or some shit. But you want to put that as execute macro 99. And I'll show you why later. Theme settings. There's a bunch of different ones. I prefer this one. Just funny that I don't have it set up on this PC. This doesn't matter. Right? So I'm actually going to back out now to get that good theme. Oh, what's this, Fefe? What did I plan on teaching today? The basics of the basics, but it's all going to be by gut. So you can have that on left stick. That's fine. I like to have sit on left stick, personally. Like, that's my thing. But the point is that you definitely want macro 99 on one of your thumbsticks if you're playing on computer. Now, remind me to actually go into that after we go through the baby stuff. I wish my friend had this when he gave this game a try rather than instantly getting overwhelmed and quitting. Yeah, no, it's a whole thing. All right, start. You ready? Okay, we've started. So, before we even make a character, we'll go to a different world. We'll go to Ultros is a legacy dungeon legacy now. Goofy. Go to Leviathan. All right, let's just assume you're starting here, right? Nothing, absolutely nothing. Okay, the first thing you'll want to do is learn what this button is in the upper right. It's backup client settings. You see, if your computer were to suffer a mishap, or you uninstall the game, or some nonsense, or something were to happen, and you had, oh, I don't know, an interface and settings that you spent like dozens of hours perfectly customizing, those could become lost. So you click on those gears in the upper right corner, and it will allow you to upload or download your nonsense. If I was on my character, it would allow me to download the HUD stuff that I had uploaded, as you can see, a couple hours ago at the house. This is super important. This is super important if you switch PCs or play on a laptop, because I have lost my interface settings. And holy hell, it's you don't know how long it will take you to redo your interface the way you want it to be until you have to do it from scratch. So upload that every couple of weeks, download it whenever you change it or what have you. But now we're going to start a new character. We're not going to do appearance data because I'm going to assume most of you people don't have appearance data, but if you made a character in the benchmark, right, or if you saved a character earlier, it would be there. So let's start a new character. So, depending on if you're playing the free trial or if you bought the whole thing, you would have different options here. Aura are now just generally available because of Heaven's Word. I don't know if, I feel like these two are Shadowbringers exclusive. So you probably can't pick those if you're playing on the free trial. But you would have access to Hyur, Elazin, Lalafell, Mikode, Rogadin, and Aura. Okay, before we continue, this is so important. There is no gameplay distinction between any of these races. There used to be a sub 1% change in base stats that only mattered in the most fringe scenario, which I believe was Black Mage Lalafells could get like one extra fire cast out. I think it was back like 11 or 12 years ago. Right? The only thing that is going to change is your animation set, your voice set, your appearance, etc. Also, as RosaFlow points out, your jobs are not relegated to races. Everybody can be everything all the time at everything. So, for funsies' sake, I guess we'll make an Ellison. Alright? We'll go into character creation. Every race has a race and a sub-race. There's like Wildwood and there's Duskwhite. The main things these change is the facial options and the skin tones. So we'll grab a Duskwhite. Cincinnati says, are jobs classes? No, and that's actually really confusing. We'll get to that in just a minute. But jobs are not classes, but they are what you think of as a class. So, there is what's called an esthetician in the game, which is a barber, which does allow you to change parts of your appearance. Right? The reason why that matters is because maybe you don't like your hair. However, there are things about your character you can't change. You cannot change their height without picking up Fantasia, which is a cash shop item. You can't change their face. You can't change their skin color. Which, by the way, when you're changing your skin color here, you should definitely see it in multiple environments. You can hit right trigger and left trigger to change environments, and you can hit triangle to go from daytime to nighttime. You can change your hairstyle and hair color later, including your highlights. You can't change your jaw. You can't change your eye shape. You can't change your iris. You can't change your eye color. You can't change your eyebrows or your nose or your mouth. The things that you would change at the esthetician are something that you would assume you could actually get changed at a barber. Oh, you can't change eyebrows? That's weird because it's like actually like it's your brow. But your hair, your makeup, tattoos, stuff like that, but not stuff like ear shape, right? Or ear size. The esthetician is not cosmetic surgery. That is a paid thing only. This guy looks like an asshole. Holy fuck. If you want to see them in a more unique pose, for example, click that left stick and you'll see them do a little animation. All of that stuff is relatively minor. You're going to make a character that looks like you want him to look, right? And it's going to be relatively, whatever you would like. For example, right? There we go. Now, here's where it gets, like, really important. This is a new feature. Battle voice is something that you would not expect to actually matter as much as it does. It matters a lot. Because some of the voice lines when your character takes actions are incredibly loud and super annoying. The battle, there's all the different voice options here, but the battle voice one is the one that really matters. This used to not exist. This option is new in Dawn Trail, and it gives the ability to hit, I believe it's square? No, not square. Oh, just click on it and hear what it actually sounds like. So this one sounds like super normal, right? That would annoy the fuck out of me. That would drive me crazy. That would drive me crazy as fuck. So we'll go with 1 because it's the least annoying. But yeah, anyway, that's an option now. Thank God. Save appearance data? No, we're not going to use this. Your birthday has no effect on shit. And because the months are all fucked up, They actually don't even correctly correlate with your actual birthday. Like 22nd son of the second orbital moon, which is my birthday, is written as 421. Matters nothing for shit. Your patron does not have any effect on gameplay, though it does have one extremely minor effect on the story in Endwalker. Extremely minor as part of side content. There is like a single line of dialogue it is not worth it. It is not worth it to stress over this. Just pick one. They're all cool. My current one is Limlane. All right. Oh, this is new? Well, that's an interesting way. That's very interesting. So, hey, gang. There's where you're going to start your starting class. And I do say class because these are known as classes. Classes are base level jobs. You start as a class, and then a job is a stronger, betterer version of that class. So if you look directly above me, it says corresponding job is Paladin. It's a really weird system that they ended up giving up on. It should just be all jobs. It's dumb. Paladin is just literally better gladiator. Like there's no reason, like if you have a gladiator in high level content, you're a dumb idiot and you need to stop that. It's just the promoted version of the job, right? So tanks are fairly explanatory. They're tough. They're at the front of the party. They tank damage, etc. Healers, similarly self-explanatory. Though it is interesting to note that if you want a healer, you are playing a white mage. It's called Conjurer, but you'll see it's literally white mage, and it becomes white mage. Your options are limited. There are 4 healer classes, but 3 of them have to be obtained at much later levels. So there are 4 tank classes at the end of the game, but you can only start as 2. There are 4 healer classes, though you can only start as 1. And there are 5 DPS classes, though I believe there are 16 DPS classes now? There's a lot. It's by far the most complicated one, right? Also, if you want to play a white mage, so white mage is defined by healing spells that do regen, and that they have a spell called regen that will slowly tick health. If you want to play what's called a shield healer, aka you put up big shields so that people don't take any damage at all, you would grab Arcanist, because Arcanist has the dubious distinction of being the only class in the game that levels up into 2 jobs, Summoner and Scholar. So if you want to save a lot of time, and by a lot, I mean a lot of time, leveling Summoner also levels Scholar, and leveling Scholar also levels Summoner. If you level Summoner all the way to cap, you actually have another healer that is at cap with you, or vice versa. It is the only one that does that. It is super weird. They are never going to do that ever again. But it's a thought. It's a class that's 2 class. Last but not least, before we continue, you might wonder how stuck you are playing Arcanist, for example, or Archer, right? Every single player character can play and learn all 22 battle classes, all 3 gathering classes, and all 8 crafting classes on the one character. There's no need to ever change it. You can learn everything. There are rewards for your character learning everything. There's currently a fancy mount you can only get by getting every battle class to cap. Some people already have it. They're sick. They're sick. Don't do that. Just make a character you stay there. Stay there, okay? So we'll grab Arcanist for that scholarly weirdness. Now, in the bottom left, where I'm covering up, you can't see it. But basically, what's going to happen is the different jobs are going to send you to different starting areas. This seems important. It is not important. You have to go to all of the starting areas eventually. Doesn't matter. You have to go to all of them. Jonath LP asks, can I be a gatherer or crafter if I don't want to fight? No. Every expansion will forcibly lock your progress into that expansion by your defeat of the battle content. So you cannot get into the area that Heavensward takes place in until you do the level 50 quest called the Steps of Faith. You can't get in. It won't let you in there. Right? Now, Diana, you're completely right. It does let you preview the level 50 job gear. So, for example, if you look down there at R3, there was small clothes as an option and unique stance. But now that we're on the class screen, we can also include the job attire associated with it. So this is what a level 50 paladin would look like. This is what a level 50 marauder would look like. A white mage, a monk, a dragoon. It's probably the most iconic one. A bard, a black mage, and a summoner. Unfortunately, Scholar doesn't get their cute little hat. Now, Ed Merritt says, your starting class determines your starting city, which I believe is always the city where you'll spawn when data center traveling. That's true. So, for example... Oh, no, wait, that's not true. No, it's not true. When you data center travel, you end up at the city that you transferred out at. But that's not really important, because you're immediately going to teleport away. If I'm looking to ERP, how easy is it to change my sex, race, look? It's about $5. Oh, data center, not world transfer. Right. No, that's the whole thing we're not going to talk about. It's about $5 to change your look for creepy sex reasons. You do get 2 for free. Oh, it's $10 now? Shit. Anyway. Yeah, let's not talk about server hopping just yet, right? So I'm going to grab an Arcanist, which is going to put us at Limsa Lominsa, which you might recognize if you watch the stream as the original name that Ligma is making fun of. Now, this is going to be a little awkward. See, if you start brand new, you may run into a problem in which your friend is on Famfrit or Exodus or Lamia or Hyperion or Ultros or whatever, and you actually have a really hard time, like, logging in, right? Right now, everything is kind of locked down and restricted. The reason for that is because of the expansion and the huge amount of new people coming in for the expansion. How it usually works is every 6 hours they rotate the servers that you're allowed to create characters on. Right? So what you would do... Where does it want me to go? Creation in this world is currently limited. Okay. Where did it even put me? Put me on Famfret? No, it's gonna try later. Anyway. Make your name test guy. Yeah, all Premel's lock. It's test guy. You can also use the generate random forename surname, except you could. All of those are taken now. So you can't use that anymore, unfortunately. So let's just confirm test guy. I believe this is going to fail because new characters can't be made on this world at this time. So we'll have to choose something else. How in the world do I change my data center? On a controller? I guess you can't. You know what? This would be a great time to show off the virtual mouse. So if you hit L1 and hit R3, you create a virtual mouse. Oh, looks like we'll have to back all the way out. Darn. Well, we'll have to quit character creation, lose all progress. Darn. Let's go down to, yeah, you don't want on Dynamis. What about Crystal? Maybe they got one. Crystal's congested too? Get out of town. Mateus, huh? We'll just load this guy in, because that's my existing guy. Crystal is also congested! Oh no! Yeah, looks like you're stuck on Dynamis now, losers. It's pretty funny, actually. Pretty funny. Pretty funny. Oops. Didn't want that. All right. Anyway. Arcanist. There we go. I've selected Meduin as my starting world. Right? So here's the thing if you start on Dynamis. The reason why you see above my head in yellow XP bonuses are currently being granted to new players is because Dynamis is the newest of the data centers and it is kind of empty. As a result, they are giving out serious XP bonuses. Oh, it's already taken? We'll begin a new game with this character. Now, it's going to tell you it's congested literally every single day of the remainder of the game's life. Don't worry about it. It will tell you this every single day. Yeah, like every day. It's been like this since the beginning of Endwalker. There you go. Oh, thanks for the raid streaming our way. I appreciate it. Alright, so we're gonna just skip this. By the way, if you want to skip it, hit circle and go to skip. Alright, I'm now freaked out by the way the interface looks because it's not my interface. Oh my god, this is a nightmare. Welcome to Limsa, bustling city-state. Doesn't really matter. Please select what control scheme you want to use. You're playing with a gamepad, right? Pick gamepad. Also read that. It's really important. Okay? Also, here's something you can read. If for some reason you have trouble with a menu, right? You can click in on the right stick. Oh, not on this one, though. Oh, there it is. No, definitely never. So, oh, it's gone. I have 20 messages. Ooh, I gotta change my controls on this. 1 second. My personal controls are fucky. There we go. Oh my god, that is a nightmare. Oh, this is the worst ever. Alright. So, your basic controls. Moving with the left stick. Jumping with the triangle. Yes? Hit X or A to examine something. This is called tab targeting. The long and short of it is that if I hit tab, it would target everything within a cone in front of me. Right? Yeah, this is fake Limsa Luminsa, right? So, if we go into... If I hit start and go to user macros, it has a bunch of nonsense user macros that no one gives a shit about. Right? We'll deal with the 99 on the right analog stick shortly. So you can see that this UI looks terrible. You can also see that there's the road to 90, which is for going to Dynamis. Right? That dramatically increases experience. Like, dramatically. It's crazy. Alright, so if you want to hit buttons, why is there no one? This is an instance because you're a new player. If you want to hit buttons, you would hit left trigger and it will pull up the 8 buttons on the left. They then associate with the 4 face buttons and the 4 D-pad buttons. If you hit right trigger, you'll bring up the 8 on the right. This is how you're going to be using the majority of your buttons. Right? If you want to move one of those buttons, like for example, we have Ruin down here, which I keep on square because I'm not a freak. You can hold the right trigger and hit select, or your select equivalent. Once you're in the edit hotbar, you click on the button you want and click on the place you want it to go. And that's it. If you hold down R1, you can see that you actually have 8 hotbars and can switch between them as such. Your 8th hotbar has all your social shit. You're probably going to get rid of most of these. But that's for later. For now, we'll talk to this guy. But if any goddamn menu appears on your screen, hit your select button. And your hand will shoot all over. For example, here's the goddamn chat window down here. Here's the ability to move around on the minimap, such as making the minimap smaller, which I would highly recommend you do. Right? Yeah, the finger. See the little finger showing around? That means you're going to click on something, shock rates. Anyway, initiating quests. Talk to a dude. You'll initiate a quest. Also, if you can't read this shit, click in on the right stick. It'll make it bigger. If you think the menu's too big, click on it enough times and it'll get small. I love this feature. This feature did not exist when I started playing the game. Anyway, we're gonna cycle through some of these basic tutorial tests. By the way, making that thing bigger, it will also work on these, but not in the tutorial for some asinine reason. The dialogue boxes. So in your baby tutorial area, it's going to basically just walk you through the most basics of the basics in terms of how to actually function throughout the goddamn thing, right? So for example, I clicked on the select button and then hit back with circle to turn that off. Up on the upper left, you can see your current main scenario quest. Doing that, like clicking the select button, will put your little hand up there, then you click it, and it'll show you where it is on the map. If you use the right analog stick on your map, you'll move your map. If you move your body while on the map will become somewhat transparent, and then you regain full analog control. You just hit square again in order to get it back. And if you want to get rid of your map, just turn it off with square. It's a good map. You want to move up and down, hold L1 and move up and down. If you want to run forever without using your hands like a disgusting meat person, start running and tap L1. You're going to use that one a lot. You're going to use that auto run shit a lot, let me tell you. If you want to sit down, click left on the stick. That's purely visual, doesn't do anything. If you want to take your gun out, which is kind of weird that this is a hidden command, hold L1 and tap R1. If you want to put your gun away, hold L1 and tap R1. It's weird. That's a book? That's a gun. That's a gun. Alright. Also, of importance, do you want to get rid of every single part of your interface for funsies? Hold L1, tap select. Bring it back with hold L1, tap select. Did you want to take a screenshot? Hold L1, hit start. Right? Easy. Alright. Let's just go ahead to this green thing on the map. Talk to Batteron. Now I'm gonna skip all these because they're not really important to what we're talking about today. You know. That concludes the tutorial. You've taken your first steps. Oh, wow. We got a level right away. So, read every single one of these, by the way. Every time any of these ever come up, just read them. Just fucking read them. Okay? It's important. Main scenario quests. This is really important. This one's the most important. If you see a quest that has an exclamation point, but it's got all this fire and shit around it, yeah, that's the important shit. Scenario guide will also point your way to that important shit. But regardless, first things first, let's go to user macros. And let's make a macro on number 99, which is, I believe it's just sprint. Oh, what's the actual command for sprint? Does anybody remember it? I can't even remember. Is it AC? Oh, it's AC sprint, right. AC for action, and then you use quotations, sprint. Can't be used here. Oh, we're still in the zone. Of course. We're still trapped in the fake Limsa Lominsa. Right? The tutorial dimension. Main menu. Grants quick and easy access. So, these are showing off the main menu for PC users or mouse and keyboard users. You don't need that. Map will show you stuff, but I showed you that map. Over on the right, you see close to home. It's got different tasks. Hit select a couple times. You'll end up there. Click on it with X. It'll show you this. Then you can go to map. And you go to different objectives. It'll show you it on the map. Use this to find things. Oh, I forgot. This tutorial is actually really disorienting after you beat the game. It's really disorienting. Because you can't just explore and complete the quests as you would normally do so. You have to actually do all the quests in the vicinity. It wants you to do them in a sequence. On some quests, you'll encounter things to interact with. So this is something that's going to happen. Don't worry about sanctuaries. What sanctuaries means is that the moon in the bottom right corner underneath the XP bar, that means you're getting rested XP. Anyway, you select these with A or X and click on them when you're close. That's it. Easy to do. What's rested XP? Imo read. Rested XP will show up as a little extra bar on your XP bar. It gives you 50% XP while you have the rested XP. See, now as you can see, we're actually in real Limsa Lominsa. As you can see, all the nightmare shitheads running around, being freaks. All the freaks are here. So, we're close enough that we can probably actually start teaching things that matter. Right? So this is a visual nightmare. I hate this. I hate what I'm looking at. Right? I think it looks like crap. The amount of names is creating just a soup of text. I don't like it. Right? I just learned return off that, which, long story short, is just return to the last aetheryte, which is your teleport location. If you have more teleport locations, you'll be able to teleport, but we don't have that yet. Don't worry about it. Also, I should be able to sprint now. So basically what I did by having execute macro 99 on the right analog stick, as well as what do you call it? The /AC space open quote sprint end quote allows me to sprint on command at all times by clicking in the right stick. Now sprint does have a cooldown, it's about a minute, but that'll be very useful to you. So you look at all this nightmare and you're like, I would like to clean up this nightmare, please. Well, first of all, you're going to hit start, and you're going to see a bunch of shit, and it's going to be horribly intimidating and nightmarish, and you're going to vomit. Luckily, a shit ton of them are grayed out, so you can't use them. So I'm going to tell you right now, when you start the game, ignore all of it until you have to. Journal's important. Going to look at your character matters. But yeah, there's a lot of soup here. Don't worry about it, okay? Well, what you might want to go down is to character configuration. And here's where we're going to get that good stuff. So first up, you might be like, well, what if I don't want camera-based movement? What if I want standard character-based movement? Okay, well, let's change that. Okay, so what we've done now is we rotate our camera around the guy. And we can back up like so, and you turn like this. Not only does it look like shit when you're turning, But also, if you're standing in like a puddle of damage and you want to turn around and run, you have to do this. Get rid of that. You don't want that. You want legacy type. So that if you're standing in damage, you can go, oh, I would like to not stand in the damage anymore. That's it. Legacy is default, guys. Isn't it? Anyway. Second of which, see this? Cutscene skipping? Skip playback of all of these. What this means is that when you go into a dungeon for the 400th time, you won't do the big flyby every time. This is how people figure out whether or not new people are entering into an instance. So turn that shit off. This looks complicated. I'm not going to screw with it. Here's something. Camera speed on stick. Turn that up, dude. Now, you can turn it up to your own personal preference. I don't even remember what I have it set to. But the default of 33 is not fast enough. It is not fast enough. You need to kick that up to something. It's real slow. This is a new feature specifically for Dawn Trail. I'd recommend turning it on. When you walk up to, we're doing Limsa right now. So this will be great. This will work really well. So, if, for example, there were a shit ton of people standing around SWAT Blade here, we can turn this on and they would all vaporize. And you would actually be able to see SWAT Blade, which would be pretty useful. Right? I would recommend turning that on. Look at target when speaking. That's on by default. You don't need that. Inventory interface. All right, so hit start, go to inventory. This is what your inventory starts to look like when you start the game. Most people's inventory, you'll notice, does not look like this. Okay? Almost nobody does. It's not enough. All right? What most people have is either expanded or open all. Personally, I think open all is a little much. I'm of the opinion that expanded is the best one. That's just my opinion. 2 tabs. I think it works really well, honestly. But hey, to your own personal preference. I think that storing all newly obtained items in the last open inventory slot is actually a really good option. So what's going to happen is you have your inventory where all your items go, and then you have what's called your armory chest. Now the armory chest is basically where you keep all your equipment. So anything that got equipped will go in here. If you're playing a dungeon and you get new equipment and that option is not clicked, it'll just go into your armory chest. However, it's going to actually be fairly difficult to sort that through. So I would personally recommend that you store all new ones in the last inventory slot. So when you get an item, you can go into your inventory and go, oh, look, I got a ring. Oh, I got a sword. Whatever. Right? That's my personal opinion. Fill tabs in order, display these. These are all fine. UI settings. Well, these are fun, aren't they? So these are all fairly simple, right? Toggle is interesting. The one I'm thinking of is 2 up. Really? Oh, store all the newly crafted items in your inventory. You're right. You're right. Ignore me. Ignore me. I'm completely wrong. That whole thing was completely wrong. You actually want this option. Wait, no, I want this. No. Wait. What is the good option here? Yeah, no, you want these off. Yeah, you want these off. My mistake. My mistake. Anyway. You don't want them off? I mean, it's personal preference. Right? Everything I'm showing today is my personal preference. But some of these features are, like, relatively unknown. So, like, some people don't know about what's called item help. So, item help in a lot of cases is on potion. If I were to hit L2, I would see the effects of a high-quality version of that potion. Or I can hit R2 to hide it. Right. Alright. Let's continue. Help toggling? Yeah. Display action help. And what does that do? What does display action help do? Oh, it's the same exact thing, but for actions. So, for example, if I was on here, or I moused over this, it would show Summon Carbuncle. Alright. Continuing. Display pop-up help? Sure. 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 I don't care for these. That's fine. Instant portraits are fun. Leave those on. HUD. Okay. Let's see. Personally, I like nearly all of these the way they are. I hide the duty list during duties because you don't actually need to see your objectives when you're doing like a raid, because the raid's going to be kill the guy. It's going to be kill, please. Now you could have your clock type set to local time. You might actually want it to have Eorzean time also, if you ever plan to craft anything ever. You're probably not going to need your current world name. You are going to want your limit gauge, which I struggle to find on the screen. I guess it's not there. This is a fun one that you're not going to deal with until much later in the game. But the main scenario guide, the thing directly above my head that says close to home, eventually you will finish all the main scenario content. And if you do, it will say to be continued. And just sit there forever. So you should probably hide this when all quests are complete. Display only the detrimental effects. So what this is that basically when you fight an enemy, you can often see the effects that other people, like the debuffs that go on them. If you click on this, it'll be easier and, in fact, only able to see your own debuffs. It can be useful sometimes, but I would not recommend it. Enemy list, enmity list, you definitely want. Display focus target, don't worry about that. Don't worry about any of this crystalline conflict nonsense. Party list. So, full name seems like overkill, honestly. I actually do surname abbreviated, but initials is fine. You definitely want your alliance lists. Those are important. What about this one? What about display name settings? Right? Do you want to see your own name above your head at all times? You might not want to. That might actually, in fact, seem completely stupid. You might want to. You might be like Gil and are actually stupid. But if you want to turn it off, you can. Right? What's much more important, is others. Put party members' names to show up during battle. Alliance members to show up when targeted. And other PCs to show up when targeted. It will turn Limsa into this actually readable location. You can hit left and right to select people, and their names will show up at the time. Like, it's Tweakin' Devil. But other than that, you'll actually be able to see things. Now, I believe these are minions that keep showing up. So I guess we're going to have to go and change the thing for minions. Friends, always. NPC, where we got? Where's minions at? Pet display. There we go. Never. 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 Oh, that's not the minions either. Where are the minions at? NPCs. Minions, here we go. Never. There we go. Now it's all clean. Now it doesn't look like a bunch of freak-ass MMO losers. It looks like the NPCs have gone mad. Now, you could set it to target, as Cade points out. But, you know. So, as you go through the areas, you're going to see guys that have this icon above their head. Now, it's currently red because I'm not high enough level. If I was a high enough level, which I believe is 10, 60... Oh, that's the answers unlock quest. Anything with a plus symbol will unlock a new mechanic in the game. So this guy and her will give XP or maybe a shop. Anything with a blue marker, such as, or plus sign, that's Dancer unlock, that's Sage unlock, that's Fishing unlock, etc. Right? So for now, we're going to go outside and we're going to learn about actually targeting. So, there's a lot of weird shit about how you actually target things in this game that is not immediately apparent. One of the things that the game teaches you is that you can look at something, hit A, and then walk up to it and hit A again. And then you'll start smacking it with a book. I don't know anyone who attacks anything like this. Ever. Like, literally ever. I don't know how anyone does that. What you're gonna usually do is you're going to hit A to select it. And as you can see, it's got kind of a cone where it wants to select this one. But if I get past it, it's going to select these. The reason I don't have the summon out is because I haven't got to that. Right? Now, there is a series of options for this. And that series of options is one that I particularly like. Where is it, though? Is it in hotbar? No, it's the... Oh my god. It's the option for targeting. Oh, I'll never find it. Regardless. Is it target settings? Yeah, where's that at? Far left top. Oh, phone. Oh, excuse me. Oh, okay. Hey, guys, I will be right back as I try and remember where the targeting settings are. Pardon me. Excuse me.
Let's go.
Reload.
Let's go.
Apologies, folks. Apologies. I was gonna make fun of the wife, but then I realized it was gonna be immortalized inside a tutorial. I decided not to. Did anybody remember where target settings are? Ah, they're in control, target. Ah, there we go. Automatically face target when using action, that's fine. Disable targeting of pets and minions in battle, that's fine. Switch target circle to target select. What the hell does that do? Left and right become hard targets. What does that mean? Oh! Oh my god, I learned that today! NS Drummer, thank you! Yeah, turn this on, motherfucker! That's way better! Alright, so... Personally, in terms of ignore depth or cone, I prefer cone for unlock because it lets you do this. As you can see, how you're actually pointing. Actually, you know, I prefer cone. Anyway, I was trying to tell everyone to go towards cone. These are all fine, except for this. No, not that one. Filters. This is my favorite one. This is so important. Okay? Oh wow, this has been fixed to the way I have it. That's great. Anyway, you enable target cycling. Target cycling will work, and you can change this to anything you like. But basically, it's the difference between what do you target when your weapon's at your belt? Everything. What does your weapon target when it's out? Enemies, aggroing enemies, duty enemies, NPCs and objects. Right? So that when your weapon's out, you don't have to worry about auto-targeting dudes over there. That's why down at the bottom you see there's all and others. Right? Why not minions? Minions don't have any health. Alright, so since I'm an Arcanist, I'll hit Carbuncle. There's no reason to not have Carbuncle. Carbuncle's gonna do his thing and he's your friend. So, like I was saying, the way that most people are going to target things in this game to attack them. It's not going to be using double-click A on auto-attack. That's just not good. Right? What you're going to do... Hey, Coffee Ground. What you're probably going to do is either hit A to target from far away, or hit left and right to do a hard target. And instead of doing auto-attack, especially if you're a magic user, you're going to hold your right trigger and hit your attack ability, such as Ruin. You're going to wait for it to circle around, and then you're going to hit Ruin again. Then, what you're going to do is you're going to go into character settings, and you're going to turn off auto-sheath weapon when not in battle. Because you're never going to want that ever. It's awful. Second of all, you're going to see this in character settings and character configuration. You definitely want to always see your battle effects. You kind of want to see your party's battle effects. And you definitely don't want to see anyone else's battle effects. If you have everyone's on show all, the game will become a goddamn soup. You will not be able to see anything inside any dungeon, any raid. You'll never, oh my god, never. You'll never be able to see anything. It's terrible. Don't do it. PvP opponents should have some though, because you kind of need to. All right, what I do to target a lot of things, however, and a lot of people don't know this, is I hold the trigger and I hit R1 or L1 to cycle through my targets. The reason I did this is since I'm already hitting right trigger, once I select my target, I can throw Ruin down. See, because you can't use the D-pad to hard target while, you know, right trigger's done, because that'll hit the D-pad. So instead, you can use L1 and R1. But your attack is already out. Also, of note, this is a new feature. This is a brand new feature. I think Endwalker did it. Where if there's no one to attack, and you hold right this, and you hit an attack move like Ruin, it won't attack no one. And why is that? Well, because it's not turned on. It's in here somewhere, actually. I went past it. Where was it? Target. Ah. Auto target according to priority, such as closest range. What this means is now you don't need to target shit. Just hold the button and hit attack. This is a game changer. You don't need to target. Just attack. You don't need to do it. All right? Next up, we're playing Arcanist and we're going to play Summoner, right? You're going to hit Start. You're going to go to Actions. This is where every button you could ever hit goes. Okay? It's really important. Don't stress. If there's ever a button that you're like, I think this is a function in the game, but I don't remember how to actually get to it, go to Start, Actions. They're literally all in there. Right? From attack actions to roll actions to traits to orders, which are for your pets. General, such as things like Limit Break, which is strangely not on your bar when you start the game. You want to, by the way, you want to get them onto your hotbar, hit square. And then put them on the bar. Duty action. Don't worry about that, Stormblood. Repair. That's a good one. Then you got main commands, duty commands, logs, travel, etc. Now, Cowie asks, how do I remove actions? That's a great question. I put 4 limit breaks on there. I don't need to have 4 limit breaks. Well, hold right trigger in this case, if it was this on left trigger, right? Then hit select to edit your hotbars. Then grab limit break. Now, instead of moving, just click the same thing again and delete it from your hotbar. Done. Now, let's pull. I would recommend this to everyone. I genuinely mean this. I would recommend to get rid of every single one of these. Because you use them very rarely. Very rarely. I would then also tell you to get rid of these. Every single one. Clean bar. All clean. Okay? By the way, if there's ever something you want to do to something and you want to have like an idea of how to do it, select them, hit square. It'll let you do shit like emote at the Wharf Rat. All right. Now that we're all clean, we're going to have to change some of our character configuration, right? So, say your weapon's out. Do you need teleport? Do you need return? No. No, you don't. That's stupid. So we'll go down to hotbar settings. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to enable expanded hotbar controls with L2 and R2. And we're going to put these on left and right. Number 2. Got it? You got it? Number 2. I keep it number 2. This is going to be easy for demo reasons. So, as you can see, when you go into actions, there's actually a huge amount of actions. Now, you don't have a job yet, so they haven't all shown up. But there's at least Ruin, there's Summon Carbuncle, there's Radiant Aegis, Physic. Right. Aether Charge, Ruby, Gem Shine, Fester, Energy Drain. Man, you're getting a lot of buttons. Oh man. At the end of this, I'm on set 8. Oh, that's fine. Let's just use, for example, because Summoner eventually gets a lot of attack buttons. Let's say you had... Oh, I'm fighting something. My mistake. Let's say I had just... Oh my god, there's so many attack buttons. Oh man. Oh, there's so many. They're not all ruined, but there's a lot. And yeah, let's just say there's just like so many that crap. I've actually run out of space. I've run out of space. I have more than 16 buttons. Where am I going to put those buttons? Well, luckily, you went in and turned on expanded hotbar controls. So what that's going to do is if I hold left trigger and right trigger, I'll get the left side of hotbar 2. And if I hold right trigger and left trigger, I'll get the left side of hotbar 2. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means I can put stuff like Summon Carbuncle down here, and Physic, and Aether Charge. So that if I want to use something that's a little out of the way, I can do so. Now I have access to all the right ones, all the left ones, all the left ones on the back bar, and all the left ones, all the right ones on the back bar. I'm now up to 32 buttons, which is all you're going to need for 99% of content. But what if I wanted more buttons? What if I wanted 16 more buttons? You'd go to Character, and you'd do Enable Expanded Cross Hotbar with simultaneous double tap. And you would set those to whichever of your choice. Right now it's set to Cross Hotbar 8. That's fine. Well, what would I want to put on Cross Hotbar 8? Oh, I don't know. What about something like... something I don't use all that often, right? What would a move I don't use all that often be? I don't know. Limit Break? If I actually ever find the fucking thing. Where is Limit Break on this thing? General? Really? Oh, General, of course. Limit Break! So, Limit Break is... yeah, it's like your ult. After a long fight, you can gain Limit Break 1, 2, 3 bars. And then... why are we teaching you? There's some details I've forgotten over the years. So, you're fighting. I'm using Ruin. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Yes. Oh, it's time for Limit Break. Well, now that I've set it on my expanded cross hotbar, I can hold right, left to get this, or I can double tap. Oh, that's not large enough. We need enable directional and action buttons so that I can have the full extra bar. So now, with right trigger, left trigger, right trigger, right trigger, left trigger, double tap, right trigger, double tap, left trigger, you now have 48 buttons to use. This is more than you would ever need. Ever. Ever. Also, if you're used to actually using your abilities and you can recognize them by their symbols, like I can tell you that that's Ruin 1 even if it didn't have the little text, you can go and it's in here somewhere. There's a button here. Display recast. You definitely want that. Where is it? Display control guide. There we go. No, that's the wrong one. What is it? It's in here somewhere. Display hotbar help. There it is. Now it's nice and clean. Right? Now, let's say, for example, you had a move on Summoner that had a long cast time, such as Swift Cast. You can only you can see in the bottom right, you can only cast it every 60 seconds. Right? And let's say your hotbar was completely full of fucking shit. Everything's full, right? And it has to go on the second bar, right? Well, then you run into a weird problem. And the weird problem is, Swiftcast is only available every 60 seconds, but you don't want to actually have to swap back here to actually see that it's available, right? That's annoying. That would waste time. This is when you engage into the nightmare that is the HUD layout screen. So I have used the HUD layout screen to do all sorts of shit, right? So for example, I take my mini map and I jam it as far up into the corner as it'll go. I take my server info and make it super tiny and put it over here. Such as that, right? But for your ease of use, the most important one is going to be hotbars. So turn off system, right? Just so you can see it. You're going to see, oh, where's hotbar 1? Well, it's actually a PC hotbar that's, you know, just in the side of your cross hotbar. And it's currently invisible, right? What about hotbar 2? What about hotbar 3? Right? Well, what if we used hotbar 7, 5? Where is that one? Hotbar 10. My favorite hotbar of all. Use the right analog stick to move it, and you can place that shit anywhere you like. Right? You can move it anywhere. Now you'd be like, why the fuck, Pat, are you using a hotbar when you can't actually even, you know, do anything with it? You can't click it with your mouse. Well, we can turn on hotbar 10, for example, like that. Now hotbar 10's right there. And then what we can do is go into actions, use our digital mouse, and we can drag this down to hotbar 10. Now, you know what you'll see? You'll see Swiftcast. Oh, how do I turn on the transparency settings? Oh, hide display. That's what it is. Now, there is a button to make it so that all these unassigned slots are gone. I believe it is in character configuration, hotbar settings, and it's hide unassigned slots. There you go. So now it looks like that. And if you want to move it, you can move it wherever. And if you want it to be really big, because Swiftcast is important, you can do this shit and make it really big. And now you'll always know that Swiftcast is ready or not. You'll always know. Always know. So after you're done doing all of this stuff, what you definitely want to do is log out. Oh, are the icons not set to HD? Where is that option? Where is that? That's so funny. That's not like on. That's not. I passed it twice. Of course I did. UI resolution's at high. Yeah, no, I think you just might be crazy. How do you hit a button? Possum Walsh asks, how do you hit that button? Does it pop on the L2 R2 bar also? So the reason why you would put it on like hotbar 10 to live off to the side is purely so that you know it's off cooldown. To actually hit it, you would just have it wherever the fuck it is. So you end up with like a lot of duplicates. Right? You have a lot of duplicate bar buttons. Like, so that's purely for visuals. So now we're going to log out, or actually we're going to go back to town and log out because it'll be faster. And then I'll switch to my real character and I can show you exactly how I do it and what I use it for. So, let's log out. Goodbye, testing guy. We're going to switch to... And remember, after you did all that shit, back up your character setting so you don't lose all that. Oh, I gotta change my data center. Well, first I'm gonna delete this guy. Sorry, dude. Bye, testing guy. You're dead. Yeah, it's not automatic. You definitely need to do it manually. Alright. So now we're going to be loading in as my Dark Knight, which is a character that I've spent many years on. And we're going to be using the Dark Knight class. No, not the Dark Knight class. We'll be using Warrior. The character that you're the most likely to start with if you're tanking. Alright. So, if you look at my bars now, you're going to immediately notice why all that unclickable shit is there. All of this is stuff that I can't actually hit on the main bars. They're all stuff that exists on the back bars. But I need to know if reprisal is available. I need to know when I can cast Disesteem. I need to know when Living Dead will come off cooldown. But since they're in the back, I can't see them all the time. So I have them all set up like so. If we go into HUD layout, you'll see that I turned hotbar 7 and hotbar 8 into these little boxes and then spent tons and tons and tons of time making it line up just nice. Don't worry about that inventory. Right? So now we're going to go down to the easiest place to do this, which is Castrum Oriens in Stormblood. Oh, there's a fade over there. Oh, don't worry about that. Anyway, Castrum Oriens has this nice training dummy that you can use. Right? I gotta turn that, I gotta change that. Oh, that's way better. Holy hell. That's way better. I like that. Anyway, so we're just gonna go over here. So, I know my Dark Knight super well. Goldsmith? That's clearly not right. So, here's my warrior. Right? So one of the things you might have just seen, actually, is I went to gear set list. Let's say you were starting a new character, like I was earlier, and you got a second job because you felt like it. You felt like going down and getting a second job, right? You're like, wow, this is incredible. I'm a warrior and I'm also a paladin. So what do? Right? You end up like, oh, I'm going to equip the warrior weapon, right? I'm going to equip the axe. Oh, I changed into a warrior. Well, what about my gear? Well, hit recommended gear. And it's just going to load all that in. Right? Then hit triangle to save that. Now, if you don't have anything, create a new gear set. It'll be called Marauder. Why? Because there's no job stone. Equip your job stone. Do you see at the bottom of the screen the enormous amount of crossed out moves? These moves don't exist. It's because I haven't played Marauder since fucking A Realm Reborn. Fracture's been gone for 10 years. That shit doesn't exist. Put your job stone on. It's really important. Anyway, then hit triangle to save it. Hey, look at that. You have a gear set. Now, you have a gear set that you can use. What's the purpose of the gear set? Well, if, I don't know, you have a bunch of gear sets, you can... Hold on a second. For example, say there's a lot of classes you like to play. Like, you like to play tanks. Go to character. Hit square. Set to hotbar. Now tank is now Dark Knight's a button. Now paladin's a button. Now warrior's a button. Now gunbreaker's a button. Now when you're out in the world and you're like, I would like to play the video game as Dark Knight, just tap it. I'd like to play as a gunbreaker. Just tap it. It's useful. I actually have Scholar down here, but that's not the point. Now, one of the things that I am not using, so I have my regular job buttons, as you would expect. I have these on the back, and I have these on the back. But my double clicks are not fight-oriented. My double taps are actually my mount, and this dance emote, and orange juice, and my... macro that doesn't work, which tells everyone I'm watching the baby, so I might freeze. It's stuff like repair everything, desynthesis, take materia out. Basically, all the little things that I would like use all the time but aren't like fight related. However, you might have noticed also. Why orange juice, asks. Well, orange juice is the cheapest food item in the game, and when you equip a food item, you get a 29-minute buff that gives you 3% XP. How do you change which hotbars double tap targets? Is it under hotbar settings? It is under hotbar settings. You go to you go to custom, and you pick which ones go to where. Right? So, this is where it gets really fun. Say you want more useful items. Like, I have a bar that's just for teleport, just for chocobo shit, and switching jobs. Set 7. You go into character, you go to hotbar. Enable customization for weapon is sheathed. When my weapon is sheathed, I will switch between hotbar 1 and 7 by tapping R1. I could hold and do whatever, but tapping R1 will switch between these two, which is fighting and useful shit, right? If I go to here, you'll see that there's actually a weapon thing for 1 and 3. So when my weapon is out, it doesn't switch between 1 and 7, which is useful shit like, you know, teleport. It switches between these two sets of combat abilities. And there's a reason I have it set up that way. So let's switch to warrior. And let's take everything off warrior. Every single thing. off warrior. Every single one. Now this part is going to be primarily tank focused because I'm a tank main, but it does work for every class. Now one of the things that you should know is that I'm going to show you the babyest version of this, because I'm going to assume anyone needing to learn any of this stuff is a little baby, right? So, let's talk. Hello. Whoa. Hello? Are we still here? Yo, that's crazy! I got a brown out and I'm still logged in! That's wild as hell! My camera never died? So you got to see, like, the flashing lights and shit? Cool. Router didn't reset. Yeah, that's wild as fuck. Thanks, Universal Power Supply. Anyway. Yeah, I bet the camera fucking stuttered. All right. Back we are, anyway. Camera has audio delay. You might want to just reset. Or restart. All right. Anywho. Alright, so I'm going to teach you what I call cross hotbar theory. Because I'm insane. I'm completely nuts. And I overthink where my buttons go. Now, everyone's buttons are going to be completely different. Everything that I may say that may be good for me, you may go, I don't like that, I think that's stupid. Right? However, you might take something out of it that you do find of value. So the first things first, it might be tempting once you get your job at one point you'll get a job crystal. And what's going to happen is your action bar is going to change from this to this. Which is a lot. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're actually, you know, it's a lot, right? So we're going to go real slow, right? So the first things first, your almost every class is going to have a combo, particularly melee people. What do you want your combo starter to be? For me, that button is square. Heavy swing, level 1, square. It feels good for me to hit square as the start of my combo. That just seems totally normal to me. You may prefer it to be on circle. The game starts it on circle, in fact. Right? Not really important. What is important, however, if you're using a controller, is that buttons you're going to be hitting all the time while moving should be on your face buttons. Because moving and hitting the D-pad is fucked. So for me, for example, the basic combo of Heavy Swing, Maim, and Storm's Path goes square, X, circle. Some people like it like this. Some people like it like this. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you should think about what is personally most comfortable to you when moving around. Now, with these buttons as is, I can easily do all sorts of stupid shit while moving. It's not a problem. It's actually really simple. Right? You're going to be moving during combat, so you want to be able to hit those easily. Right? Now, for example, you're going to learn something called a roll action. Now, a roll action is fairly specific. It's things that every type of class or job that you have does. All tanks, for example, have Rampart. All tanks have Low Blow and Provoke because it's part of their core tanking kit. Because these moves are shared between multiple jobs, it is my opinion that they should all go in the same spot on every job. That way, you never wonder where the fuck Rampart is, or Reprisal. This is the following mentality for where I've placed them. Personally, I think the tank cooldown 1 goes on the left trigger and left D-pad. Regardless of where you actually put it, the D-pad is just better for something that you're going to be using once every 90 seconds. Because that's how long Rampart lasts. Sorry, that's how long Rampart takes. Well, if Rampart is on the left D-pad, then the AoE version of Rampart, Reprisal, should go behind it into left trigger, right trigger. So it lives behind it in the same spot. But since Reprisal is now hidden, we're going to have to drag it down so we can see it. So now we have Rampart, and now we have Reprisal, and we can see it. Well, similarly, Low Blow and Interject are essentially the same move. The difference is that one interrupts and the other stuns. Interject is more useful than Low Blow is, but they both essentially do similar things. So Interject would go on the right D-pad, and Low Blow would go on the back right D-pad. And again, because Low Blow is now no longer visible, we're going to have to put it down there so you can see it. How's an interrupt better than a stun? Cooldown? Interrupts in FF14 are designated by a specific iconography on the enemy that says you can interrupt this, and it's guaranteed, whereas a stun is more of a general purpose thing that starts getting resisted all the time. Right? Now, if you want to not use my hotbar technology that I have here, somebody pointed out you can, in fact, use a display. Where is it? There's something you can display. You can show the goddamn cross hotbar the whole time. Always display. Right? That's actually, ironically enough, showing the wrong one. But hey. Regardless. So there, now we got that. Well, if Rampart is on the left and Interject is on the right, in my heart of hearts, All tanks have 2 defensive cooldowns, a weak one and a strong one. So I put Thrill of Battle up here, and I put Vengeance down here. Now we go down to roll. And wouldn't you know it, Arm's Length has some anti-knockdown stuff, but it also has a slow when enemies hit it. So it's kind of like Vengeance. And like so, we put it over here. Now I forget what's actually on the top. Ah, right. So, I have my cooldown up here, Thrill of Battle. Well, tanks all have an AoE cooldown. For Warrior, it's called Shake It Off. And look at that. I now have it set up where all my tank defensive cooldowns are all nice and placed. Right? However, there is one tank cooldown that every tank gets that they're going to be using way, way, way more often. That's your primary defensive cooldown. For Warrior, it's something called Bloodletting. Now, you get it pretty late. Before that, I think it's called Nascent Glint. As a result, I have a special place for this. I have a big button to put it. Oh, it's called Raw Intuition later? Thank you. The biggest button of all. And also, I like to set this up so that it's visually appropriate if you squint your eyes and turn it diagonal. So, Bloodletting, or Bloodwetting, or Raw Intuition, they're all upgrades. Right? It's going to live with in the back with these defensive cooldowns. So I can hit it, and that nice 24 is going to show up all the time. So you know, there's a Sheltron equivalent for Paladin, Blackest Night for Dark Knight, as well as... I don't know what the goddamn Gunbreaker one is. But regardless. Right? Alright, so now we've got our defenses. But you're a tank, right? Heart of Corundum and Storm, right? You're a tank. What about Shirk and Provoke? And also, why the fuck would you use Shirk and Provoke? Well, let's go look at what Shirk and Provoke are, because they're really important, and they're poorly used. So, Provoke is something you cast on an enemy and go, hey, look at me, fuckhead! Stop attacking the other tank! Look at me! Hit me now! The reason why you would do that is if, one, somebody fucked up and pulled aggro on something they shouldn't have and you need them over in your face right now. Or two, which is much more commonly, the boss hit your friend, the other tank, with a move that will kill them if it hits them twice. So they get hit once, you hit Provoke, and go, hey, no, hit me the second time with that. And then everybody lives and is happy. Your friend, while you provoke, decides to shirk, which makes the boss extra mad at you instead. Now, there is an issue with Provoke and Shirk, right? And that issue is very simple. Shirk needs to be targeted. You need to actually click on your tank friend and hit Shirk. And you know what? That can be a little awkward. Right? It can be awkward. We'll put Shirk right here. Provoke right here. Hit down on the D-pad once? Well, my friends, I have a solution. What if you didn't want to hit down on the D-pad? What if you went over to user macros and you made tank macro 2 and your shirk macro. What if you made it so that when you want... What's that macro script? All right, I'll show you. What if you made it so that you wanted to hit a button and would always go on the second person? Yeah, I'm going to need to... Is anyone playing the game right now on stream? Sorry, on Ultros? I'm gonna need a partner for some of this. Can you all come out here where I'm at Castrum Oriens? Oh, that's not the right guy. Great. And we'll invite you too. So, in a normal party of 4, once you get into a dungeon, if you're a tank, the healer is number 2, who's the most important person aside from you. And in an 8-man, the other tank is the second person on the party list. What does this mean? That means if you make a user macro, which is AC, which is action, whatever, quote, the name of every tank move, end quote, space, and then 2 inside these little brackets, you can use this to auto-cast your tank cooldown on the second one. And when your tank, you're having to do shirks and shit, what you end up doing is you shirk by hitting this, which is the same one. Because who the fuck are you ever gonna shirk other than the other fucking tank? Ever. So, the way that I have it set up, and the reason why Bloodwetting is here and Shirk is here. You know what, Hydra? I'm going to have to kick you out. Bye. So, say Argus here. Argus, could you attack the dummy? So, Argus is going to start fighting the dummy. We're going to pretend that this is the fight, right? So, Argus is about to get hit by a big old tank buster. So what do? Well, I'm going to use my defensive macro on him and then hit provoke. That's why these two are next to each other. Bam, bam. If I'm the person getting hit by the tank buster, I would use my defensive cooldown on myself and shirk. Bam, bam. Macros are not useful for large amounts of your gameplay. They don't flow well into other buttons. They have delays. It's a whole fucking thing, right? But for specific, rare use cases, they can be fairly useful. For example, thank you very much, Argus. For example, if I was a healer, like a white mage. No, if I was healer like a scholar. Oh, I'm technically in combat right now. Reset enmity on that. There we go. If I was... Oh, Kaima was Argus? Cool. If I was a scholar, for example. There's a million buttons for Scholar. Don't worry about it right now. Okay? The important one that you need to know right now is something called Sacred Soil. So Sacred Soil is a really simple move. Right? The deal with Sacred Soil is that it... where's Sacred Soil? Sacred Soil lets you put down a bubble, which will protect from damage. So if I wanted to do so, I would then enter into this interface, where you can move the ring, or you can reset the ring's position. It's a whole thing. So I would have to hit that twice, like so. Right? I mean, it works. I'm not the biggest fan. Or you could do the Sacred Soil targeting macro, in which you cast it. So this the notation here is cast it on your target, or just cast it on just me, which leads to this situation. If I'm targeting something and I hit Sacred Soil, just right on it. Like, I don't know, the boss. Or the tank if I was healing the tank. So I have these for the tank cooldowns, Oblation, Cover, Sacred Soil, Earthly Star, Asylum, Shikuchi, etc. Basically, all these weird targeted moves that I'm really only ever going to target one thing, ever. Ever. Anyway, back to Warrior. This works until the boss goes to the edge of the arena to do a dash attack, and half the bubble is wasted. Well, that, my friend, is why the second Sacred Soil is on me. So that if I'm not targeting something, for example, it just pops right on top of my body. Anyway, you should look into macros. They can be helpful. We're not going to talk about crafting macros today.